Oh, and those were the books she was reading on the side of them. So I want to pull one paragraph out of her screenplay that I thought was extremely compelling and powerful. And in it, these are her words. Where she says, in 1939, we baked Germany in the laboratory of Otto Hahn and Liz Mittner. We see the experiment where uranium atoms are split for the first time, and they're kind of puzzled over it. And as they're looking at these results that make no sense, at the same time they have a dilemma because she has to leave Germany. They're pushing her out. And so they had this experiment, it's screwed up in some way, and she just can't quite get her mind around it. But now what's happened is, as Ayn Rand writes, Liz Mittner is forced to leave Germany on the train going to the frontier. She is snubbed and pushed around by arrogant Nazi brown shirts. The Nazi state has damned her on 3 counts. The old are useless. Women are useless. Jews are useless. She sits all alone in the corner of the train, her mind intent on an inexplicable experiment. She makes calculations on a piece of paper. At the frontier, Nazis search her luggage. They take from her her typewriter, her physical objects, her camera, saying nothing of value to the state, they declare, can be taken out of Germany. And then she says, we see a close-up of Meitner's broad forehead, the intelligent eyes. What she is taking out is her mind. What she figured out that no one had up to this point in time, she could split it down. On that piece of paper, she calculated out, she said, oh my God. In Denmark, she explains her solution of uranium atom was split in half to Fresh, another refugee scientist. This is what happened. They didn't have contamination with barium. They had split an atom. This was so secret that what ultimately happened is this is what I call the theme of critical mass of nuclear physicist minds, coupled with unlimited US funds, minimal government bureaucracy controls. These are all the things Ayn Rand figured out in this screenplay of hers. I'm learning physics and understanding this stuff from her words. And what she realized, and I'm conceptualizing here, Marie Curie started off with the atom. Einstein came to a conclusion about the energy that could be released. But Mittner realized you could split the atom. Up to this point, no one conceived such a possibility. So she quietly tells this. Then they tell Bohr. He goes across the Atlantic Ocean. We have been building a critical mass of brilliant minds who have pulled John Galt's for the last 7 years. They have been disappearing from Europe and reappearing in the United States, including people like Einstein. Now, this knowledge comes to Princeton, and you've got this critical mass of minds, free minds, Ayn Rand says. They can start off with $6,000 from Roosevelt because there's worry. Could the Germans be starting to, they realize this. They haven't yet. They just shipped out the only person who figured out what was going on, this useless old woman. University of Chicago, this started forming there. Ayn Rand says it's so important, minimal government bureaucracy. There's a theory that when you're really up against an abyss, disaster, that's the one time government might let go of their reins and let the people come up with a solution. And so we have this, and that's when Oppenheimer is given charge of this project. And with funding, $2 billion back then, which is equivalent to about $26 billion today. They build all these facilities, including Oak Ridge National Laboratories. The process continues. We have 44,000 free minds working and racing against Germany on this project. And the rest is history. The bomb drops August 8, 1945, and the war ends. Upon completing her research on the Manhattan Project scientists, having done one-on-one interviews, written 70 pages of screenplay for a movie, and I just wanted to get a sense of the vision, soul, and effort she put into this what she thought was an immortal work. On Saturday, March 16, 1946, she was informed that a competitor, MGM, had bought up the screen rights for $20,000 from her employer, Al Wallace. And this is part of the stuff about the movie. The movie was starting, they were starting to produce it April 1st. A.R. learns the screenplay was already written. MGM has no intention of using any part of her work. They just didn't want any competitions. Probably throw on a pile somewhere. Hell likely knew MGM would purchase the partially screenplay as a defensive strategy to prevent competition on their own movie, The Atomic Bomb, beginning or the end, so it's just thrown away. Now, here's my question to you. First Amendment. Think hard about your own personal experience or creative loss. You have a woman who's come up with all these visions and tremendous enlightenments. So let's say you've done something like that, and you feel like it's almost an out-of-body experience as all this stuff is pouring in, and then your computer crashes. How would you feel? And you don't know, well, we know if you're the IRS, you might not get that. But here, you don't know if you've lost it or not. You're probably enraged with yourself, so on and so forth. Now, imagine what it might have been going through Ayn Rand's mind with respect to her last 8 months. Someone purposely crumpled up your work and said, never mind, forget about it. It's not yours. I mean, you created it, but it was a work for hire, and now it belongs to MGM. Ask yourself how you would react depending upon either you have some way of salvaging it, or you've lost it forever. Well, I checked the obituaries. This is hell, and there's Ayn Rand, and it's still mad at me, honey pumpkin. The thing I learned is, does he live or die? He actually outlived her by 4 years, so we know she did not kill him. In fact, what we learned is as passionate as she was about top secret, she actually wrote a letter later that's on page 262, letter to Ayn Rand, where she says, it was a list of 10 gripes, and this one was number 9, and she said, if you have something really important to tell me in person next time. Don't send a third party to tell me, because I think he was worried she would kill him. And so here's what she had written. Remember how important she thought that was. What's even worse, her words, things, ideals are likely thrown out of the back door. So the bottom line was, she did not, that happened on March 19th. April 1st, she's on her own time again. And remember, she's not angry. And I think the reason she's not angry, she knew she had a phenomenal masterpiece in her head that wouldn't belong to her. But April 1st, if people throw the things away and she doesn't mention atoms or anything else, boy, the characters, the themes, the stuff I have. So here, I just wanted to mention that in the journal, it talks about January 1, 1945, she started writing about the strike. I think that was January 1, 1946. I think the same kind of error she made before. But that's speculation. Judge says you can't throw that in, just stick to the facts. So I just wanted to note the 45 there. And so she starts beginning work on a mind on strike, and what's written in the journal says, wow, what a prolific amount of writing occurred in April. They've never seen such a huge outburst of imagination and creativity by Ayn Rand. And that was about 12 days after the cancellation. So, I say, top secret or Atlas Shrugged, it was still her mind at play on all this. So let's quickly review the chronological